Remember in season 1 of The Chosen how Simon betrayed the Jewish people by wanting to turn in some of the fishermen?
What my brother didn't mention was our arrangement with Quintus.
Well, what would have happened if those fishermen turned against him and wanted to take it out on him? Well, this almost happened in The Chosen. So today, let's take a look at this deleted scene and talk about how it would have changed The Chosen, and in my opinion, how it would have made it a lot worse. Welcome to Snipe Life, where we look at creativity through the lens of Christianity. My name's Brandon, and yeah, this is the only deleted scene that The Chosen has ever had. You have to understand as we go into this that The Chosen, especially during season 1, did not have a ton of funding to just do extra scenes. Now, eventually, as the show gets more and more funding and does these different things and builds their own sets, they may have more opportunities to experiment and test with different things. But in season 1 especially, they would have been very limited on time, budget, and resources in order to have scenes that they could actually cut out of the show. That's why this scene is the only one out of the whole season that we see as a deleted scene. So let's watch the scene together, and then I want to talk about how this would drastically change the Chosen story overall.
Hello, Simon.
Amos. Surprised to see you here.
Man's got to eat, right?
I thought you only drank your meals. You okay?
I should ask you the same thing. Your ear is bleeding.
Yeah, I'm a bleeder. But I'm tough, boys.
The word is out, Simon.
Yeah, what word?
You can't keep secrets on the docks. You ought to know that.
It'll be easier if you come with us.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that.
We're going to bury you at sea. That way, no one who knew you will have to be embarrassed by your dishonor.
So this scene takes place right before talking with Eden and her brothers, and then having a large conversation with Eden that really ends in a disaster after he admits to her that he's been doing all of these things and everything's kind of falling apart for him. Remember the big fight that they have, and then right after this he talks with Andrew about Jesus being there, and Simon doesn't really believe him. And then on top of it, he sees Matthew's following him around, so everything is kind of closing in on him. So this scene beforehand would have been all of these Jewish fishermen trying to take it out on Simon that he wanted to turn them in. This would have been a very serious thing, almost as serious as someone, you know, working with the Romans as a tax collector.
This is different. I'm not a tax collector.
We see as all of these fishermen begin to surround Simon, and in natural Simon fashion, he's not really scared. He's really confident in the situation still and thinks that he can deal with it.
That's why they call me Wine Hands. Because of what I do to your liver.
They continue to threaten him, and then Simon eventually is able to get away and run past some Roman soldiers who kind of protect him in a way. This would have caused so many problems for Simon and for Andrew and for Eden all throughout the next seasons. Yes, Simon would have still paid off his debt. Jesus still would have come and he would have, you know, paid off all the stuff with the fish, but then there would be an existing problem beyond that point. Because these Jewish fishermen didn't care about his debt. They didn't care that Simon owed the government something. What they really cared about was that he was going to betray them. Just like Matthew betrayed them as a tax collector, and Peter is still attacking Matthew after he stopped being a tax collector.
I can't forgive it. I'll never forgive it.
All right.
These fishermen wouldn't have cared that Simon settled his debt. They would have cared that he was going to turn them in. Then these fishermen, holding this grudge, knowing that Simon would turn them in at any time, this is going to be a major issue because anytime Simon is outside, these fishermen are going to be looking for him. They're going to be holding this grudge because their livelihood is on the line. And if they were willing to attack him like this in broad daylight in the middle of Capernaum, then of course they would do it at any other time. Maybe they come and they kidnap Eden. Maybe they come and they take Simon out of his house in the middle of the night. There's no telling what these guys would do. This was a very, very aggressive thing for this group of Jewish men to do in the middle of daylight. So who knows where else this would go. So if you can imagine every single scene that's out in public in Capernaum, Simon would be acting differently. He would be looking around every single corner, making sure that he's okay, making sure that his group is okay, making sure that no one's gonna come and attack Jesus because he's with Simon Peter.
What do you think is going to happen?
Anything could happen.
All these people, word spreading, wrong people stop by.
This is like a big deal, right? It would change every aspect of every single scene that we see in Capernaum, and maybe even beyond that. Maybe these fishermen track them to other locations on the Sea of Galilee. This would also mean that the weight of the miracle of the fish that Jesus brings wouldn't be as powerful as it is in the show now. Because think about it. If Simon catches all these fish and he gets his debt repaid and the other fishermen still don't care, then his problems still aren't solved. Only a piece of his problems are solved, and he's created other problems beyond this. But because in the original show, all of these problems were internal to Peter himself and nothing was out publicly, then this helps to resolve all of those issues almost immediately. And as Eden gets the man that she wanted to follow God, and Simon gets the debt repaid that he wanted, and Andrew's boat isn't going to be taken away from him, all of this stuff kind of piles up to make sure that everything works out all right, and that Jesus is the solver. He is the savior of the episode, instead of there being loose ends. And then this brings me to a really big question that I have about this deleted scene overall, and that is, who told these other fishermen? The only people that knew were Simon himself, Andrew, James, John, and Zebedee. And so really, out of all of these people, who would have told these other fishermen? Because that has huge implications for the future. And it would have caused a ton of issues within the followers of Jesus, and caused even more turmoil within a lot of these relationships. Remember, Zebedee, James, and John were friends of Simon. So this is a big deal to betray that friendship. And Simon was trying to protect Zebedee. They talk about it in this scene here.
I can't tell you is where I'll be next time.
There's only 3 ships, Zebedee. I was practically in your wake with some soldiers. Many more waiting on shore for you to offload.
How did he make it out of there?
I made sure the boat had an unfortunate accident, then lost part of my wife's favorite ear.
Thanks, friend. No, don't thank him. He chose to deal with Rome.
So let's think about this together. Realistically, we have 2 options. It's either Zebedee that told them, or it's one of the brothers. And so if this was Zebedee, we can assume that these are Zebedee's men, right? Which are part of the 40 men that he talks about being out on this fishing mission on Shabbat. This is a pretty big deal, because then Zebedee would be betraying the trust of Simon, and Simon has a lot of information on him, and he even kept the Romans from finding Zebedee's ship in the first place. So why would Zebedee betray him back like this and tell all of his men what was happening? That's just strange to me, and it doesn't seem like something that would happen. But if it did, then beyond this point, he would have a lot of issues with Zebedee as well, that Zebedee would betray his trust like this. And knowing Simon, I don't think that he's that easy to forgive, at least not right now. Then our other option would be that one of the brothers betrayed him and told the other fishermen. They have even less reason to do so because they don't own all of these boats, it's their father's boats. And they don't employ all of these fishermen, their dad does. And so even in this case, it would cause even more resentment and hurt within the followers of Jesus. Not only would Simon be angry at Matthew, but he would be devastatingly angry at James and John. While we see in season 2 this kind of like brotherly quarrel that Simon has with James and John,
He sent you to the farm to teach you a lesson.
this would be even exponentially worse, as he has time to reflect on what they've done to him and what he's done to them. But he actually protected them in that moment. The moment that he could have turned them and their family into the Romans, he didn't. And so in Simon's mind, this would have been a huge betrayal. What he did was a betrayal against the Jewish people, but it wasn't a betrayal against Zebedee and James and John specifically. And then going back to the end of this scene where he's running past the Romans, this just doesn't feel right to me in the scheme of The Chosen. First of all, any rowdiness that's going on in Capernaum, the Romans normally shut it down pretty quickly with violence.
Only one language keeps their peace, Marcus. None to speak it.
So it's extremely doubtful that they would just let this roaming band of Jews with weapons kind of walk around Capernaum. This wouldn't have been normal. And remember, the Romans were always very wary about riots and people rising up to kind of attack the Romans. So of course they would have dealt with a group like this. Although it's actually pretty funny, because originally in this scene, Dallas was going to have Matthew's dog save Simon. And that would have been pretty interesting. I'm not sure how that would have worked, but the dog wasn't cooperative and it's hard working with animals, so they had to change the scene. So I think that this scene overall would make The Chosen a worse show. It would have made things harder for the writers to continue on in Capernaum specifically without resolving these issues. They would have had to spend way more time resolving this story instead of going into the biblical accounts that we want to see. So I think it was a good call that this scene was deleted. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, thank you to our Patreon family. You guys are absolutely amazing and you help us to continue to make videos like this. If you want to see us put more time into these videos and make them better and better and better, the best way to support us is through our Patreon. So we'd love to have you over there. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Keep living the snipe life and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.